Hello, and welcome to an all-new episode of Men and Women Talk, the Mars Venus Show. I am one of your hosts, Kente, all the way live from Los Angeles, California, and I'm so happy to be with you here on this first episode of our new season. We have a wonderful panel today that we're going to chop it up with and talk about our topic tonight, which is sowing your wild oats. So let me start off with the ladies. Of course, you got to start off with the ladies. And the first person I want to introduce tonight, she is now a doctor. She's a healer. She is a poet. She is a person who is a life coach as well. It's the one and only Dr. Amira. How you doing?
Hi, I'm fine. I'm doing fine, brother. Thank you so much for the pleasant introductory. I don't do poetry though, no, not like that.
Oh, okay. My bad. My bad.
But I write it, but I'm not an expert like this sister on the line here. She's the poet, not I, but
Mm,
definitely I appreciate your introductory of me, and it's wonderful. It's thank you so much for having me on.
thank you for joining us. Also joining us, we have yet again another returning champ to the show. She's been on a couple of our programs before. She does streaming herself. She is a quite the interesting individual. We have the one and only the Goddess Charmaine. How you doing, Goddess Charmaine?
I'm fine. Goddess blessings. Thanks for having me. Nice to be.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming back on the show. You look beautiful as always, and I'm very interested to hear your points of view on the show tonight. Now, this next lady, she is a very important person to me. She is my co-host in the Black Artists Connected Writers Podcast, as well as she is the lead administrator of the Black Artists Connected Writers Group. She is a terrific writer and a wonderful person. It's the one and only Imani Williams. How you doing, Imani?
I'm great. Thank you for that introduction, Kente. Woo.
Yes, yes. So thank you for being here, and I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the topic today. All right, so let's get to the fellas. All right, so this guy, he is a wonderful podcaster in his own right. He is, you can catch his show on HME, is it HEME radio, right?
HME radio, but we changing networks right now. I'm on Live 365. Then we just started a new station called Team Chick Radio, which is a 24-hour radio station experience.
It's the Keenan. How you doing, Keenan?
How you doing, peoples? Thank you for having me, Kente.
All right, and we got two people that's in Vegas, both Imani and Keenan. So when I go to Vegas, I expect to get the red carpet treatment between the two of you.
Oh yeah.
So
You got it.
all right.
Champagne showers, man.
And last but definitely not least, this brother is a terrific entrepreneur. He has, his story is so very inspirational. He's been on our radio quite a bit. He's from New Jersey. It's the one and only Aaron. How you doing, Aaron?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. What's up, people?
Yes. And Aaron, thank you for being on. And I'm, like I said, I'm looking forward to hearing you guys' point of view on the show tonight. All right, so this topic tonight is sowing the wild oats. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it is because a lot of times, see, I don't have a child. I know some of the people on this panel, maybe everybody but me, has children, right? And one of the things that often happens is parents tend to give their daughters one story or one directive in life versus their sons, right? And generally what happens is we tell our sons to go out and conquer, to go out there and, see the world, experience things, really get it in. And then we tell our daughters to be monks, to be, nuns and, and hide the goodies. Don't
Put the
don't do
belt on.
right. And so I wanted to really have a conversation about that, what talk about our own experiences and also talk about what we say as a society to both the men and women. And I think probably a good place to start off is I'm gonna start off with Goddess Charmaine. When you were a young lady coming up and you were out there, discovering yourself, your sexuality, and all of that stuff. Um, at what point did you feel like it was okay for you to experiment and to really get yourself out there and find out what you like and what you don't like and all that kind of stuff?
My mom told me a few things that I really thought she was God, and that she knew what was happening to me before I knew it. And it was preparing me for my period. It was preparing me for sex. And she came up to me one day, and I had already been kissed. My first kiss was 14. My first boyfriend was 16. And I did not have sex with my 16-year-old, so he broke up with me. And then at 17, I had a boyfriend, and I was not ready to have sex, but he was trying to hang in there for a while. I talked to my mom about it. And then one day she said, listen, you're not ready now. Tell him he has to wait. If he can't, whatever. I forget how she explained it then. But she said, when you do feel ready, come to me. And so one day I got my guts up and I walked into the room and I said, Mom, I think I'm ready to have sex. And she said, okay, you're horny. Don't do anything. Wait till I get back home from work. And when she came home from work, she said to me, I made an appointment for you to go to the doctor and get on birth control pill. And promise me you'll wait 1 month. It was about not being pregnant so much as not about STDs, but it was just not to get pregnant. And so I had a pretty decent approach. I'm not talking about spirituality. I'm just talking about from the standpoint between my mother and I, how I was able to go into sex and talk about it and go have it and come back and tell her about it. And so I thought with those particular things that happened in my life, I was shocked and amazed at how my mother knew when things were happening within my own body, because we really didn't have a lot of conversation about it so much as she said, this is going to happen at this age and this is going to happen at that age, and come and tell me about it so I can get you ready for it. And so that's really so I was kind of blessed in that way to be able to go and have sex with my boyfriend for the first time and come back home and tell her about it and then go on that way. And I had several conversations with my mom about sex. They weren't always helpful, but I was able to have the conversations. So,
was your father in the picture as well?
My father, he was, at that point, my mom and my dad had just broken up. Mm-hmm. So they were going through struggles. So my father wasn't really in my life that much at that time.
Mm-hmm. So I wondered, though, the idea that, your father wasn't necessarily there. I don't know what the relationship would have been with him. What do you think the difference would have been as far as if you went to him, for example, with the same thing? I know it couldn't have been the same speech, right?
He probably would have told my mom to shut the hell up, what you telling this girl to do. My father was not even ready for me to wear a training bra.
Oh, wow.
So he was upset when it was time, not saying there's a whole lot going on there, but something was trying to show up. And my mom took me and got me a bra, and my daddy was not happy about it. He wanted me to stay a little girl. And that was a problem between them. And him in general, letting the kids grow up. And so I do remember that. So I do know that if we had, by the time they broke up, I was going into, 16, 17. And so I don't think I would have ever spoken to him about it. My mom would have probably told me, keep it a secret. I would imagine that she would, because my dad just, that's probably, dads, they think they're protecting you rather than preparing you, because they don't want you probably to go through whatever it was that they thought they were doing. I was different with my children, but just coming from my growth with my parents, that's what was going on.
I'm going to go to Imani right now. So at what point did you kind of come into your own as far as wanting to, experiment things and do that kind of stuff?
When I was 12, a bug bit me, and I became very hot. And so I, just kind of made it to 13. And when I turned 13, I requested a meeting with my parents, and my parents were divorced at this time. My dad came over. I sat both of them down and I told them that I wanted to get on birth control, that I was ready to have sex. And it got quiet. And where they would usually be going at each other, they were coming for me. And I really didn't understand, because they were both teachers, middle school teachers. My dad was like, I remember what he said. He said, I need you to cool your heels. You are not ready. It is more than you just getting pregnant. You're not ready. You are not ready. Go read some books. And my mother's response was, you're 13. Do you want to turn 20 and see that you've been through 20 guys, or 20 guys have been through you? That's not what you want. So for a year, I did what they said. I read some more books, and then I took myself to Herman Kiefer, the Detroit Health Department, because you could get birth control pills, I heard. And I put myself on birth control. And then when I turned 16 and could legally date in my mother's house, she took me to her gynecologist. And the doctor was like, well, I just think it's really mature of her. She's going to have sex, that she protects herself. And my mother looked at me and she looked at the doctor and she said, all she really got to do is keep her damn legs closed. Nobody was willing to talk about where all these feelings had been coming from for years, because I happened to be a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. So I didn't know why I was feeling all that I was feeling. I just knew I needed to scratch an itch. So,
yeah. Now, we're going to get to the fellas and get their point of view as well. But I wanted to start off this part with the ladies. And I'm going to go to Amira. Amira, when you were, a young lady and you start to get those feelings as well, did you go to your parents, like these two, the ladies went to their parents to tell them that they want to be active, or did you keep it a secret?
I went to my parents. Actually, I went to my parents, but beforehand, my mother found the letter because my mother's nosy. She was nosy. Thank God she was. And she was really nosy, so she went through my things and found a little letter that I had wrote to my little boyfriend at the time. It was actually my child's father, but that's that can sort of, because my first time happened and I got pregnant. So, and the bad thing about that was that I was given the birth control. But what I did not know is that when you take birth control along with medication, that it can certainly cause, the birth control to be ineffective, right? So that was basically my experience. And for me, I didn't do it necessarily because I wanted to do it. It was more about, trying to keep him at the time. Looking back on it, at the time, you don't think it's because of that. You think it's because, oh, I love this person, or I want to be with this person. This is the person I'm going to be with for the rest of my life. But looking back on it, I think it was more about peer pressure and wanting to fit in with my peers.
Yeah, there's something going on with your microphone too. The volume.
Can you hear me? Can you hear
there
me better?
There you go. Much better.
Yeah.
Much
there
better.
you go.
Do I need to repeat everything I said? Because that was...
Nah, we heard it, but it was just muffled.
Yeah.
Okay. You like, hello.
now, at this point, I want to go to the fellas because I want to start this conversation off with kind of some background into the beginnings of when we started to get active. So I'm gonna go to you, Keenan. When you were a young fella and you realized that you wanted to not only just have a girlfriend or whatever, you wanted to actually start experimenting with stuff. Was there somebody that you talked to before, maybe an older brother or your mother, father, or did you just dive up in it?
I mean, it was a lot of influences in my time, early 90s, baby. Of course, like a lot of music, videos, and my location at the time was Daytona Beach. It was home of Black Spring Break, so it threw a whole different boomerang into the way I should treat women and what I should expect from them. And, my uncles always told me, like, go get the girl, go get a number. It's like, you got to be a player. You know what I mean? I got a messed up background. I see people turning their heads down. They're like, it's going to get interesting with me. But, I mean, I think I really just try to make the first time with that girl that I really love special for her too. And that's what I encountered. I mean, we waited for each other at the right time. We kind of did it sneaky, but it was worth it. And then we was like trying to figure out what we're going to do after that. So it was kind of, I got a lot of dynamics going my way, but that's what I'll get to y'all. for a start. You know what I mean?
And I'm gonna get to mine too, but I'm gonna go to Aaron. And so tell us a little bit about when you finally wanted to get out there and all that. Did you have someone to talk to? Did you go to your pops or?
Nah, I didn't. I couldn't talk to my pops because he was on the road most of the time. You know, he played music professionally, so I couldn't really talk to him. And, you know, I played basketball, so I was always like out of the country, out of the state, and I always like played with the older crowd. So I remember we was traveling and they had some girls come back to the room. I told them like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. They just literally walked me through it. Literally walked me through it. And I lived with my grandmother, so I came back. I wanted to tell her, but she had already knew. She said, I'm not even playing. She said I smelled different. And I'm just like, I don't even know what that means, but and she worked at the hospital, so I remember she coming home with a manila envelope, however you say it, full of condoms. She just threw it in my room and said, "This ain't no whole house, and you better not come back with a baby." And that's pretty much how it started. But I wanted to see how deep the rabbit hole went after that.
That's how immediate family like that. Like my mom, she always told me, you know, right from wrong, like, you know, how to treat a lady. And my pops, he was just gone, like working so much. And my best friend grandmother was like mine, so she kind of did the same thing Aaron was talking about, you know, just getting at us like that.
Well, that was our whole conversation. It was, this ain't the whole house, and don't have babies. And that was literally it with my grandmother. But when my father was actually mad when he found out. He told me like he really ran down a whole list of questions like, what did you do? I'm like, I was nervous. I'm like, Dad, I'm not about to tell you like position.
Blow by blow. Literally.
Yeah, like I'm not giving you a play by play, but he was mad, but he was actually kind of laughing. Then he told my uncles, and my uncles kept calling my grandfather, and he a bishop, so you know I had to go like Sunday school for like 5 Sundays in a row.
Oh, wow.
And it was like every passage was about sex, every passage, and then it was just. And after a while, I was never home either, so it really I didn't have to tell them.
Okay, they actually caught us a couple times, so between me and my sisters, you know what I mean. Those people hopping out the windows, like
yeah.
I
really had to like jump out the window.
Take this L right here.
Yeah. Nah, I'm not getting caught by my grandmother. No, she threw a baseball at me. I'm not getting caught.
Now, when it comes to myself, you know, I was really young. I was 13 years old, and the funny thing is, the lead up to it, I swore I was the only person in my group that wasn't doing anything, right? And then, of course, when you get older, you realize they wasn't either. They was lying, right? So you hear, you know, you get a lot of your information, you know, in the streets and whatnot. And I remember when it finally did happen, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be or whatnot. It was very underwhelming, right? I always say that if it was an adult film scene, it would have been the worst of all time, right? But I
don't think she knew what she was doing either, because mine was good.
Mine wasn't. I was 13 years old, so you know, thank God it got better. But nah, not to judge that first one off. That wasn't the business. But you know, unfortunately, you know, I really didn't reach out to anybody. Like, and I had older brothers and obviously a mother and father, but you know, I didn't do that. So the thing that will end up happening though is if kids don't feel like there is somebody they can go to, they'll learn it in the streets, and you know that's not the best place to get your information when it comes to sex. And so I'm gonna start with Charmaine. Like, when you started having like thoughts of, you know, specifics when it came to sex, I know you went to your parents. Like, where did you just learn on the fly, or was there a place that you went to? Did you read books? What did you do to really kind of form what you wanted to actually experience, or did you just experience it as it came?
Yeah, well, there was a lot of confusion. I had my mom who helped me feel that it was okay to have sex at 17. But I also had some heavy religion going on. And I was told that sex was a sin in the church. So there's a lot of confusion around how you're actually going to get information. And then you go into church. I was very much into the church. I didn't believe that sex was a sin. So there was some confusion about if I wanted to learn more about sex, I felt there was a part of me that felt guilty about it. Even though my mom said it was okay, the church started to have more of a dominant control over my mind around how I was going to be sexually. So, but secretly, I would look at the Kama Sutra books, and not knowing I was going to be goddess eventually, but we found these books with these Asian people having, sexual positions. It fascinated me that a position could create something in your life. So I really wanted to know what these positions look like. And then you have these Asian people, and you're like, they look different than me. So I was really into that. So I found myself really wanting to look at more pictures rather than reading. I love the body. I've always found myself loving the naked body. So anytime I can get a chance to look at some nude art or sketches, that's how I feeling my body. And then the only really thing was when I had sex, I was able to have sex. So I didn't feel guilty about actually having sex coming from my mom and being with my boyfriend. And then not the guy I had sex with the first time, but the second one, he was a virgin. I actually had a chance with him to really explore different parts of my body feeling pleasure. So it wasn't a lot of reading. It was more like, what happens if you touch there? What's good? Do you actually have an orgasm? I had orgasms back then with myself. It took me a long time to learn how. I didn't have an orgasm with anyone when I was in high school. It was when I went to college. I was on my own in Atlanta that I learned how to have more control of my body and what was happening. And when you're growing up as a 17 and 18-year-old having sex in high school, you pretty much letting the guy do everything. But I played around more with my high school part, and we would touch and do certain things. So it was more about trying to create the image of the pictures rather than reading and understanding. And then dealing with the shit that was going on in church as far as religion, and dealing with that as a person that believes that everything you do is being seen and watched, even when you're alone. And so that was a big thing for me to learn how to process that. But it didn't really stop me. We have to learn, when you feel bad about something, even from church, or even if your parents tell you not to do something, you're going to do it anyway because you have hunger in you. And so, but for me, it was more about pictures and visualization rather than actually reading. And I discovered by trying to create those images, I found a lot happening in my body that I wanted more.
Now, welcome to the program. Finn just joined us. Finn, are you there?
Yeah, what's going on? Hear me?
Yeah. Everybody, this is Finn.
What's going on?
Hi, Finn.
Hi, Finn.
All right, so Finn, we're talking about the topic is Sowing Wild Oats, and what we started out by saying is everybody talked about their first sexual experience and how they, before they started their sexual experience, who they went to for guidance or to talk to or anything. And most people they talk to their parents or maybe a friend or something. So I was wondering, when you first had your first experience, did you talk to someone or did you just dive right into it?
If someone's not speaking, can you put yourself on mute so we?
Yeah. I hear
the person that's trying to speak right now.
Yeah, Finn, are you there? Finn, did we lose you? Okay, so all right, so we lost Finn, but all right, so I'm gonna go back to you, Keenan. It's funny though, we heard a vastly different story from the ladies versus the fellas about how their first experiences, came to be. Now, you talked about that you had a lot of uncles that were pushing you to be more active. Kind of give talk a little bit more about that.
It's just one of the things. I don't know what it was for them. I don't know. It was just, you see that girl, go get her. They want us. They wanted me to live their kind of persona in that age. I don't know. They wanted to pass down some knowledge of how to get girls or something. It was macking. It was old school macking. Say this, see if it still worked. I don't know. I don't know what else trying to do. But it wasn't no advancements for me. And like I said, like just being around Daytona at that young age around Black Spring Break, sexuality was at an all-time high. It was like Uncle Luke music from Black culture too. A lot of college kids going down there, and I was at a young age seeing that. It's just, I remember taking pictures, and my mom, I'm taking them to my mom to develop them, and she brought them back like, boy, this is the kind of pictures you taking at the beach, boy. I'm like, this is what they doing. This is what I thought this was what everybody was doing. You know what I mean? So it kind of changed my perspective on, like I said, how to treat women as far as having sex. A lot of movies influenced me. Music, like music videos, just how the rappers treat girls and stuff. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. And, I was getting pushed at a young age. So I really didn't like have a direction. My sisters, they was older, so they had their own agenda of how to get their boyfriends at the time. But I was looking like, what kind of guys they getting, and some guys I didn't like. They had a lot of gold. They had kind of the fancy cars, or they was athletes or stuff. So I was like, okay, that's kind of what you gotta be to get in the cool kid crowd. And at this middle school time, I remember people trying to force me to have sex with girls, like pushing me in the classroom with a girl, like, she like you. Oh, go in there and do something. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I come out like, no, man, I ain't doing that. Everybody watching this stuff, like, they're like, oh, trying to make a big deal of it. And then it's just hanging around the neighborhood, you hear friends about they got it first, and you're like, well, you got it first. And it's just a lot of things that influenced me. But the first time, like I said, it was so special to this one girl. But we kind of grew apart after that. She was like, okay, I got it in now, so I know what to do. Let me go try it with the other guys I've been liking. It's like, thank you for getting me out there, out the way for that. It's like, you showed me you can be good and bad at the same time. So it's like, okay, fly free then,
So would you say that when you were a young guy, you really had an opportunity to really experiment and be out there? Like,
yeah, I did. I mean, after that first time, it was like, it really didn't count. It ain't mean nothing. You know what I mean? It's of course to have fun, or even do it with your fellas to see how many you can get. It's of course sometimes we practice safe, and sometimes we just want some oral or some kind of crazy scenario. It was real strange. I ain't really put no value into making a relationship at that young of age. Like, I'm gonna fall in love. I wasn't that lover. Oh, I'm gonna go meet your parents, have a date type of guy. I was the thug that the girls was like, I want to take you home to my dad, but you know what I'm doing with you. Type of guy. Like, I know you smoking weed. I know you the guy that drinks. I know you the guy that's gonna get my daughter into trouble. So it wasn't a lot of family dinners with me.
All right. So what about you, Aaron? So once you had your experience and you was on your way, so what was that like afterwards? Once you finally said, okay, I'm ready to jump into this.
It went left quick because I was playing ball. I was a ball player, and we already had that stigma, and I unfortunately had to live up to that stigma, especially with the older cats. They was doing it. They was partying. We was wild boys, like with no guidance outside the country, outside the state. Literally, like, come out the van or come off the airport, and that's it. It's just us until we had to go play. So it was just I don't know, just a fun time. especially it was in that era where everybody paid to play. Like I was getting kickbacks. So of course, different coaches and different programs. It wasn't just a monetary type of thing. It was, hey, you see that girl over there? That's for you tonight. Let's win this game. It was that type. So it went like that. And like Keenan said, I ain't putting no value into nothing. I'm not. I was only in your town for a night, maybe two, if it was the weekend. So it wasn't. I wasn't thinking about anything. And when I finally found that girl, and that to try to get in a relationship with, it was already too late. I didn't know anything about a relationship. I didn't get into a relationship until I met my high school girl. So I didn't know anything about flowers, about kissing her, holding her hand. I thought that was like for suckers. Like honestly, I thought that was for suckers because that's what everybody told me. And I just kept going along with it. And it took I give her credit because it took a lot, like to get me to hold the hand.
That's really interesting. I remember a story. I'm gonna direct this to Charmaine. A story my father told me that when he was a young man, and I think it was in high school, he was dating this girl, and he had been dating her for I think a year or so. And he really liked her, and she liked him, and they actually ended up breaking up because her parents said, you've been with this boy for too long. You need to really date other people. They pushed her into like breaking up with him because they said that she really needed to see other people and not just be so caught up with this one boy. So they ended up breaking up. And so essentially they were telling her to sow her wild oats, get out there, experience other guys and all of that, even though if she liked my dad, And so, I wanted to ask you, Charmaine, what do you think about that for a young girl specifically? Because sometimes, you're young, you'll have a boyfriend at a young age and you'll be with them for a long time, maybe even get married. Should a young lady specifically, should a young lady go out there and really get a chance to have experiences so that when she does settle down, that she's already done that?
That's a great question. For me, when I was home in high school in my town, I'm a relationship girl. So it was cool when I was home. But when I went to college and I went to Atlanta, I forgot about that I was a relationship girl. And being by yourself and hanging out and all these different people and guys all over the place. And at that time, for me, it was an amazing time because growing up in the 70s, you have all these issues around being Black and being dark-skinned and being teased by your own people for being Black. But in the early 80s, everybody went back to Africa. So everything was like, oh my God, the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. So by the time I went to Atlanta, everybody wanted some of this. So I came out. I found I felt attractive and beautiful in Atlanta and sexy. So I was in the art school and I started modeling and doing art classes and runway modeling and mannequin modeling and all that. So I was dating about 6 men at one time. I was having sex with 2 of them. I wasn't having sex with all of them because I wasn't ready yet, but I loved getting the attention. I would say yes to any guy that asked me out. I would tell a young woman, if you get a chance to go to college, I would say try not to. If it happens, it happens. You got to know who you are in your heart. But I would try to say, don't get so committed in college. Just have fun and explore, especially if it's not your state that you're not going to live there for the rest of your life. If you can think about this, have fun, open yourself up, sow your oats. But if I was going to stay local in my town, I might have been more programmed to try to just grow with someone in my own town in Jersey and just stay that way. I mean, I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't gone away to college. But going away to college was an experience that was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I had amazing times, and I had some pretty rough times too. But I got through it, and my body healed, and my mind grew. And I would tell women, if you're going away to college, try your best to have as much fun as you can. Stay safe, get your girlfriends, make pacts with your girlfriends when you go out to make sure when you go out, you go home together. Because when we learned all these things the hard way, the bad way, when we went away with our college girlfriends, and you meet a guy in the club. I mean, we even had a night where we met Eddie Murphy in the club, and he took a whole bunch of women back, and some shit went down that night. I didn't get picked. You probably one of the light-skinned ones. But, you know, so I really had an amazing time in Atlanta, and I'm grateful for it, and I was definitely sowing my oats. I would, you going to college and out of state, do your thing. Think about it. Do your thing.
Keenan, you're fans of the comedian Corey Holcomb, right?
Oh yeah, 5150. What's up, people?
And I remember he said, I don't know if it was on his, it might have been on his last stand-up or maybe on one of the 5150 shows. I remember he said this thing about, he says essentially every woman has her hoe phase. So
yeah,
she gonna have it as a young woman and get it all out, or if she don't do it when she's young, she gonna get to it at some point.
That's the dynamic about it too. Like, wow, it's like if you hold yourself, you're gonna cheat on your husband, or you want to just go ahead and get it out now before you find a husband. So, I mean, and man, it's a lot to go about on that. So, like, sometimes you just gotta let it out. Sometimes just come on now. I don't know where to start. Where do I start from here? What I wanted to say was, oh man, can you repeat the question?
The question is essentially is, you know, if you're a young guy, you meet a woman and she hasn't had that phase, should you be thinking like, you know?
Okay, I remember what I was going to say. Yeah. So after that, I moved from Florida to California, and I wanted to do that for whole phase. I'm in a whole new community, fresh new start. You know, I met a nice scholar girl, you know what I mean? She going to college, everything. She got me right. And I'm like, still that little thug dude that she fell in love with. But I started being around the family and stuff and learning her. But I kind of turned her out though. Like she just became an info. Just like want to do it all the time. Like, yo, calm down sometimes. It's like, okay, so I left Florida. So I left for Florida for like a couple weeks. And I found out she cheated on me. She just went through the whole neighborhood. Everybody hit me up. Like, yo, I seen her with him. Yo, I seen her in the car with so-and-so. And I'm like, oh, my heart broke. Like, oh. That's like my first heartache. My mom was like, yo, son, it's like that. You know, you kind of throw her out there like that, you know. So she got to sow her out. So that's what I feel like. Okay, I'm back at it. I ain't falling in love.
but you know, a lot of guys though, they can't deal with a woman who's been experienced, been out there like that. Like you know, I think a lot of guys, they be wanting their women to be straight up virgins. You know, like they're the first one to plant their flag. And you know, a lot of guys be really insecure about that. What would you say to a guy who's insecure about, you know, whatever she may have done in her sexual past?
Hey, are you gonna deal with it and you know learn from it, or are you just gonna call her out and get put out by it because you're not gonna keep up? I mean, you can enjoy it, but if you're gonna just point your fingers at her, she ain't gonna stay with you, man. Like if you want to know her number,
right?
You don't want to know her number.
Why do guys ask that? Like, that's the stupidest question to me. Why do people ask questions they don't really want the answer to?
Yeah,
like that.
I don't know, man. It's just want to see where you learn this from.
I think there's a part of us that's kind of really dark. We have a shadow in us, and we want to know information like that, but we know we don't want to know it because we're going to start acting from that place. So you become more mature. You know, I'm not going to ask that question because I know how I get. But it's almost a sick part of us that wants to sabotage. A part of us wants to be able to accept people for who they are, and then another part, what we're going to judge them. The question, I mean, I even found myself wanting to know that about men that I met. I mean, how many women have you been with? Have you been with a Black woman before? You know, it don't matter because you're going out with the person. But we want to know, and I think that we have to look at, do we want to know because we want to feel special, or we're going to judge them? You know, just really get in touch with where is that coming from? Is that my mother speaking? Is that my father? You know, there's so many things that's going on in our head.
What that have to do with your effect? Like, would you not deal with somebody if they dated a white girl?
I mean, but people are like that.
Yeah, I know. That's the sad part. That's like you just looking for bones.
I never really cared. In fact, I think it's opposite for me now. I don't want someone who's like, I don't know a better word, but like approved. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like I would rather you come to me with something to teach me than having to learn like I don't want that now. But I can honestly say when I was younger, yeah, it was like, oh, you've been with 4 guys, do this. But that's just come from what we was taught. Everything had to have a label on it. If you slept with more than 2 dudes, you were a hoe. Or
And
you
I
were
got
fat,
3,
something like that.
I got 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and we all got different pops. So I don't put that on my mom's. You know what I mean? There's different timelines in her life. She felt in a group with different people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it.
I think they want to be controlling too. They want a virgin. They want to be the one to do her and teach her and control her and tell her she can't be with anyone else. I know women that have been with one man for 35, 40 years. They've been married to them, and they have never had an experience with any other man ever. And that's just what they
really exist. I've never knew a woman that been with one. I don't know anyone that only been with one person.
Of course, there's certain things that you want to know from your person, sexual baggage, so to say. It's like today, it's like it wasn't the same back in the 90s. You didn't ask all these questions. It didn't really matter. You just, you want to have sex? You got a condom? Let's go. Okay, call it a night, one night stand. But now, there's so many things out there, and there's so many different sexualities, it might bother you. Like ladies, would you deal with somebody who's bisexual and they pass?
Yeah, because they are. I mean, I went to school. There's so many guys I went to high school with, and they were so fun. And then when I came back from college, I ended up getting together with them. And then I turned to find out that the next thing you know, they are like bisexual. And I found out, like later, they told me what they were doing in high school. And so it didn't stop us from being lovers. But I don't know. Maybe it's just my consciousness, but I didn't have an issue around that. So with some people,
I'm just not that insecure. I'm not going to ask you so many questions. Like I'm not necessarily looking for a relationship either. So I don't want to get to know that side of you. So
even if you're in a relationship and a person told you they had sex with a girl told you she had sex with another girl, you wouldn't.
But I'm necessarily not going to ask you that. Okay. I'm not going to ask you what you've done in your past. I just don't see why I need to ask that question.
Right.
It might come up. It might just happen. You might even notice it. Like I can tell you, like girls, like I didn't see you talking to no dude tonight or whatever. But it happened to me one time. I turned out a lesbian. She went back to the D because of me, and I was proud of that. You know what I mean? She had 2 babies. She got married. And then she got divorced. She was like, I don't know what happened to the dude. He just fucked the whole shit up. Excuse my language, but he messed it up, and now she back lesbian again.
Would you got a notch on your belt for that? Like it's a special notch.
Welcome back to the show, Imani.
Thank you.
So we're actually talking about how important is someone's past when it comes to whether or not we get involved with them. About them having sold their oats. And a question I want to ask the panel, but we'll start with Imani since she's back, and Amira, I believe, is back as well.
Yeah.
Is if in their sexual past they were actually sexually involved with a friend of yours, how much would that deter you from getting involved with somebody? So we'll start with you, Imani. And this was way in the past. And let's just say the friend is okay with it.
That would not be my cup of tea. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You was looking all right. That would not be my cup of tea. There's too many other people out here.
So that'd be a turnoff to you.
Correct.
Okay. What about you, Aaron? If you found out that a woman you were involved with years ago had a sexual encounter with a friend of yours?
I want the honest answer.
Yeah.
Please.
It depends on which friend. Like if she was with the people I call my brothers, yeah, we got something to talk about. But if it's just, hey, how you been? Good to see you. Like, no, I don't.
Oh, okay.
It's not
The
really.
guy you kind of know. You know.
Yeah. Oh, I went to school with him. I don't care about that guy. Like,
Nah.
I'm not worried about that.
Me personally, no, I'm just gonna take this. I'm gonna go ahead and take my ass in right quick. No, it ain't gonna happen because I'm a too visual person. I don't know what it is, my sign or something. I can't imagine.
What you visualizing though, like,
I want to see. That's the thing about dudes wanting to know why they girl cheat and how they girl cheat. We don't want to know that. We don't want to know how he.
I'm not thinking about that.
I'm doing everything to you that I do, and maybe do it a little bit better. What he did better than I did? What?
Nah, I'm not. See, but like I said about the last question, I'm not asking you. Yo, is it better? I don't want to know that. I'm not hurting myself.
But if I did know, no, I don't want to be with you. If I find out now or later, I don't want to know.
And also, if you let's say you marry her and you're at your wedding and he's on the front row just looking like,
oh no, he gotta die. He got.
You gonna wait till I spend all this money on this wedding.
Nah, that disrespect. Nah. Somebody gotta go. It's me and him, but one of us not making out that church. I know that for a fact.
He's like, yeah, have fun with your new wife.
Yeah, he was planning that. That means he watched me go through all this and ain't tell me nothing, and then gonna wait until I can't divorce her. I can't leave her. Nah, that's disrespect. Nah, bro, sorry.
All right, so Amira, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. So let me ask you. I know you're already married, but would that bother you that a friend of yours dated a guy that you?
I'm not having it. No, I first of all, that's disgusting. Because why are you? No, we're not even going to get together. We're not even going to have a conversation if you didn't smash the homie. I'm not into smashing the homies, especially somebody you know. I mean, somebody that you're friends with. No, I don't even have friends for real. But just the thought of that when I did consider friendship, because I got another concept on friendships, but that's another story. But no, I would not go with anybody that has been with one of my friends. That's number one. Number two, no, I would not date a bisexual man. That's just my preference. No, thank you.
Okay.
Can I say something, Kente?
Sure, of course.
In response to Keenan and the young lady that he was dealing with, she wasn't a lesbian, boo. She was bi.
I mean,
she was not a lesbian.
She was hardcore.
She was bi. I'm a queer black woman.
So maybe she was.
I was a lesbian for 10 years. I'm bi. I'm telling you.
I'm saying we was roommates. We was roommates, and she was taking on a lot of girls at that time.
She dealt exclusively with women while you.
Well, she just.
That's what you're saying.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
Okay,
let him have his. Let him have his victory.
No, I'm not, because he was just like, right, I did that. I just want to let you know.
I feel like I did. I feel like I took a victory lap that night.
Listen, I've taken a lot of penis and I've tasted a lot of vagina, and I'm now 8 years celibate. Hey. So I'm just telling you, don't get caught up in all that.
Right.
All right. So, all right. So the question is now to you, Charmaine. So could you be with somebody who's been with a friend of yours?
If we were together, we did it in the past, I would, if I'm dating, I would first, it would have to be, how long ago was it? What's my relationship to the friend? And if I really, really wanted to date the person, I would talk to the friend and see where they were, how they felt about it, and things like that. I wouldn't want to be hiding. But so it would all just, I would have to gauge that for myself and see what felt right. What happened? Is he gone?
Sorry about that. I had technical difficulty. I'm sorry. So say that again. So what did you say?
I would gauge. I would judge, you know, how long, who is the friend, how much do I like this guy? Is it just a date? Does it mean something to me? You know, and I would talk to the friend about it. If the person, you know, if I find out a guy went out with a college friend, and I haven't seen the college friend for whatever. I mean, I had a lover in college for years, and this guy was just, I call him a universal lover. This man had sex with probably everybody at college, including me. And I knew some of the ladies he had sex with, and we hung out. Nobody had any control or ties on this guy, you know? So I would probably look at it like that. So I'm meeting a guy, I know him, he dated someone that I know. And if I really wanted to date this guy, I would choose whether I would have a conversation with the woman, but I wouldn't date the guy without talking to the woman if I really wanted to date him, because I'm not into hiding and lying and deceiving anyone. If it was a friend of mine that was married to a guy, because that happens a lot, those guys come after you after they leave their wives and you're friends with their wives, I would not have anything. Marriage and children, that's a big difference. And so what would be that difference? It would just have to be that kind of relationship. So I would feel if a married man I knew and hung out with him, with my husband and they separating and he coming around the corner trying to date me, you can't do, that's not cool, you know. But would I have a threesome or hang out and we all know what we all doing? That's a whole different experience. So there's no hiding, there's no shame. It's just about grown-up choices.
You should get all that, you know, I think that's part of sowing your oats. Get the threesome out your system, get all that out your system. The orgies, whatever you want to do. The choice is yours. But anyway.
Sometimes it don't leave your system. I'm 53.
Okay, maybe it don't then.
It's still residue in the system.
Can I ask this though? Like, sure. At what point do y'all feel like it's a good time to slow it down at being single at that age, or to, you know, trying to find a good relationship or establish the next part in finding your happiness? I don't know. What do y'all think?
I think it's up to the beholder. It's certainly up to the beholder, because how can you can't put a cap on that, because again, you would rather sow your raw oats throughout your whole entire life if you're just not relationship energy. You know what I mean? Some people aren't relationship energy. So I wouldn't put a ball cap on that for everybody. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like a to each his own kind of question. It's a good question, nevertheless.
I'm saying, so what he's saying, like, if you're not a relationship person, you should just stay away from it. Like, what, can you explain that a little bit more? Like, what is the spectrum from you?
Well, if it's for me, I'm married and I'm not doing it. I've been there, done that, saw my raw oats, capped it up, did all kind of stuff. I'm not getting into detail, but I did all the kind of stuff in my life, and I'm pretty much settled in my mind, and I know what I want, and I got it. You know what I mean? Okay. Unless he tripped. Now, if he tripped, that's something different. We'll have a whole nother discussion on that.
So but with that said, you don't spill it.
So with that said, for some people, like, for example, like some of my clients, just to give you an example, like some of my clients, I have one particular client. She defines her marriage as an open marriage. Her and her mate, her and her husband has an open marriage, right? So it's some people that are out there. So it's hard to really redefine relationships because everybody is going to have their own. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own way of doing it. And so then at some points, then there's other people who just live their life. For example, my mother died June the 2nd of last year. Okay, so my father is enjoying himself. He's 77 years old. He is enjoying himself. He call them chicken heads, excuse me, but he do. I say, Daddy, they don't call them chicken heads no more. Stop calling women chicken heads, okay? And he laughs at me. But the point is, he's enjoying his life. He's having fun. He got one, all of them trying to get with him because, he a widower and they want that money. So he's dating all kind of women. He's dating a woman 47 years old. He's dating different ones. You know what I mean? He's enjoying his life, and there's nothing wrong with that. So it's just everybody has their own situation. So you're going to have many people. You may have another person who's just not good at relationships. Like every time they get into a relationship, they feel claustrophobic. They feel trapped. They don't feel good. It's not a great energy about them. Mm-hmm. They're not able to really tap into and be stronger because they're maybe focused and career driven. Okay. And there's some people that just can't feel like they can have it all. They can feel like they can't have it all. They may have a child or two or what have you, but they still want to focus on their child and their career. Or you have some that's just single, don't have no children, don't have nothing but their career. Or some of them who just okay with dying old, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's different people or people that's in committed relationships or spiritual unions, you know what I mean? So it's so many different relationships out there. So it's kind of hard to say when it's time for someone to sow up their raw oats, when somebody need to put, as I would tell my clients, to put their penis on the shelf or put their vagina on the shelf. And sometimes you might have to do that, you know, especially when you get old. In some people cases, not everybody, okay, because this doesn't apply to everybody, but sometimes when it gets so to the point where it don't work anymore like it used to, you know what I mean? I know they got pills for it. I got herbs. I sell herbs that can help you with that penile dysfunction or the female dryness, what have you. But in some cases where it doesn't work as well as it needs to, so some of those people may decide, hey, okay, I'm ready to hang it up on the shelf and I'm kind of wanting to move on with my life and I want to kind of settle down at that point, you know, and then they might get with somebody because the law of attraction has a funny way of showing things on you sometimes.
Yeah, it could be
You'll get with that
egotistical
person
too. It could be like, oh, I ain't gonna stop till I at least hit 50 of them.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yep. And then you had that one person, they be like, okay, I'm gonna put it on the shelf, I'm ready to settle down. And then when they finally get with somebody and they feel like this is the person I want to be with, then they person play the hell out of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because they play so much in their life. So it's so many scenarios that we could like really break down here. So many different things and different people that we come into contact with. And it's just all about what you want to do as a raw oat. And one of the things I found out because I've been married, this is my second marriage, okay? And so for my first marriage, boy, my ex-husband, he was a player, but shoot, he wasn't the only one. Shoot, I got to playing after a while, you know what I mean? So I've been through that phase. I've been through the phase and I've dated before, you know, and I've dated, I took my time and I really got to know people and things like that. And so I've had a life. And then keep in mind that I did have my children when I was fairly young, you know, and I had a college experience, but I didn't go away to college. You know what I mean? I kind of stayed inside, did my college thing and raised my children as I went to college. So I had a bit of a different experience. So I did grow up fast. You know what I mean? I got married way too young. I got married. I was like 20 years old. I was like 20 years old when I got married. And so in going through all of that, then I had my child. I got pregnant at 15. I had her 16 and I walked stage with her. She was like 2 or 3, you know what I mean? And so even with that, my daughter damn near grew up with me. I have grandchildren now, you know what I mean? So in going through all of that, I can safely say that I've been there, done that. I did all kind of stuff. I've been a player. I've been a playee. I've been a dumper, the dumpee, the dumper. You know what I mean? And so
yeah, I started my family late. You know what I mean? I just now had a baby at 29. So you know what I mean? I kind of got that out of my system too. Like, thank God I got that, you know, especially in my location, Vegas, Florida, California.
Beautiful.
Oh, yes. I want to take a moment to give a shout out to everybody in the chat room. If you guys have any questions, please post it in the chat and I will relay it to our panel. But you know, there's another aspect of this I think we got to talk about is when two people hook up to each other, if their sexual paths are not equally yoked, that sometimes can cause dissension within a relationship. So if, let's say, he's been out there and she hasn't, then, you know, that can be a problem, or vice versa. So I was wondering though, like, if, let's say, because sometimes this will happen where she done did all the stuff or he done did everything that he could ever, you know, now he's ready to settle down or she's ready to settle down, and the person they hook up with, they ain't had the 3-ways or the orgies or whatever that may be. And maybe they're like, well, shoot, you got a chance to do that. I ain't done it yet or whatever. And they're like, so beyond that. So can that work, a relationship where it's not equally yoked, where the one person feels like they've done everything and the other one hasn't?
I want to answer that.
Go ahead.
I think first thing that we need to understand is we have to change our consciousness or raise our consciousness around sexuality and sexual experiences, because sexual experiences is part of what helps us grow psychologically And also at the same time, we have a program to believe that we are born monogamous, and we're not born monogamous, right? We can choose monogamy. So if we can kind of go into that place, we can look at sexual experiences being part of my psychological development, and even the experiences that harm us. We can healing for that, or we learn from that. But I think it's really important that when you get with people that see, as goddess and being a surrogate or a sexual healer and everything, I was taught certain things to help people with sexual dysfunction, sexual problems. And I also had experiences because of going to the sacred sex community. You have opportunities to have lots of experiences. So by the time this is my second marriage. And by the time I met my second husband, he didn't have any experiences like I had. He had some experiences, but he didn't have anything. He had more traditional experiences. So now he meets this woman that's a goddess, and people they flip out when they think about pussy in the sky and all this other thing. But I come from a consciousness that I'm more open and available to understand what his needs are or ideas. I see. Is that Aaron really laughing? You smiling really hard?
No, you said pussy in the sky. That was like funny. I was like,
okay, yeah, it's me. And so I was in a place where I could really have these conversations with my husband before we even got married to get an idea of what was going on with him. And what I was able to do, because I come from a more open consciousness about understanding that we're choosing to be married and we're choosing to be primarily monogamous with sexual agreements. So I think with that, you can be unequally yoked as far as sexual experiences, but create an opportunity where you say, we're married, we're building our life together, but you know what? When we go to Hito for a week, we're going to make some things happen. Okay. Learn about sexual agreements, learn about vision. And then it doesn't have to be, we can't be together because you haven't had these experiences. If they are experiences that a partner really wants to have, from my consciousness, I could make space for that. But can a person, if you step away from programming, traditional programming around what sex is and possession, you can free yourself up and have the best relationship with the person, your primary partner, and really have experiences where a person, I had a lot of experiences before I got with him, and I was able to create certain situations so he could have certain experiences that were important. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And some of them he didn't even want to have. He just wanted to tell me them, just to be heard. And that was a sexual experience right there. And that's what we really need to look at. If we get away from possession and programming and look at what we're really about as far as sexual beings evolving through our sexual experience.
I have a question. Because you said get away from possession. So, I mean, don't you call your husband my husband?
Yes, he is my husband.
Yeah, but isn't that like taking ownership of it and he calls you his? I mean, but you say get away from possession, so I don't really know what you mean by that.
We have an agreement. It's just like picking your vows. We have an agreement. I can't control him from what he does. That's his character. That's his nature. But we have agreement. So I don't possess him as far as control what he does with other people. We have an agreement, and I believe and trust him. And I told him, if you ever want to change that agreement, you need to come and have a conversation with me. So I don't possess him because I say he's my husband. We have an agreement. We live together. We're married. I'm his wife, and he's my husband. That's that. That's grown folks' business. This ain't no mind job. We are in a relationship. But he's gonna do whatever he wants to do. Even if he wants to have that kind of character, people are gonna do whatever the hell they want to do. But you need to be in your own integrity and intention in relationship, especially in sex. That's where you really make miracles happen in your life. You have the best experiences and growth in sex, and do any kind of sex you want, but be real about it. About in relationships. So it's not possession; it's agreement.
Now, Imani, you have a very interesting story because you've been celibate for quite a long time. You're very open about it, so I'm not talking out of turn.
Right.
But speak to what made you go the celibate route, and what has how's that benefited you?
One, I started with celibacy after my third marriage ended, and I really had to ask God to just work with me, because with two men and one woman, the common denominator was me. I have to be honest about that. What it has opened me up to, man, I was not loving myself. I can honestly say that, because I was having a whole bunch of sex outside of marriage, in between those three marriages. Sometimes not so much within the unions, but when they ended, I would go on a thing. And I wound up through writing, I ended up going into a incest survivors group in Long Beach, California. And when I came out after my fifth week in group, I was asked to leave. And that did something to me. So my next move from there, after making a whole lot of noise in Long Beach and contacting the press, I joined RAIN, the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, where I am still a Speakers Bureau member. But I went from there into to Kaiser. They were offering sex addicts anonymous workshops and sessions, community meetings. And I started just talking with the telecalls, taking listening in, and then I decided to go to a physical meeting. And it was a co-ed meeting, and I prefer being in that type of situation because of my background, with women, with all women. Boy, I learned so much, and I got my 1-year chip that night for celibacy. And now I guess I will have 7 since I'm in my 8th year. But what it has done is it's opened me up to becoming my best self and loving on me. So now when I listen to people talking about dating and what the world of dating is like, and I just cannot even. So after all of this time by myself and 3 marriages, I think I am good with a companion. A companion who is conscious and loving and has a good heart, and probably reminds me of my daddy, honestly. Because after all of the rigmarole, when I look at who my dad was, um, that's the kind of man that I want.
I wonder though, when you meet a person that is interested in you, and maybe some guy that wants to hit on you and whatnot, do you tell them that you 7 years, almost 8 years celibate right
Sure
away?
do. I sure do, because I don't. It's just I don't have time for games out here. So
Just
if
be
that's
like,
what
oh,
your end game is, bruh, keep it pushing. Cause
Well,
no, I'm not. You got to get to know me, and I did a whole. Like I said, I did everything I was big and bad enough to do. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
well, that's every guy's end game, though. I mean, come on.
No,
That's
don't put that on guys. I think
well,
that's a lot more than just guys. That ain't no end game for just guys.
100% right. But we're saying, for her sake, though. I mean, of course, it's going to be their end game, but. So, what is the response usually? I'm just interested when you tell a guy
Man, first of all, this whole new world of dating, you can't even get, people will ask for your phone number. I'll be like, no, I'm good. If I end up giving it to them, they don't call. If they don't, and they don't call, if they text, it's something like on the 7th grade level. And I'm like, is this junior high school? Can you type a complete sentence? What the fuck? I mean, excuse me, but really, I'm just I'm not impressed. I am not impressed. So like I said, the best I can do, the best I, in this situation, because I don't know that I'm willing to. I'm kind of selfish now. I'm a Gemini. I'm feeling myself. I'm always in my duality. And at 54, I say what the fuck is on my mind. Sometimes I try to be nice with it, depending on which twin is out. But I just have no time for games, and their level is just so low. The bar is so low because people just settle for anything, and that is the biggest thing that I've got. Because clearly, I used to settle for, boy. You ever gone in a grocery store on an early morning, Saturday morning, and you just got on your sweats, your hair looking kind of crazy. You be like, I'm just gonna run in here, pick up this breakfast stuff, and run back home. Hope I don't run into anybody. And you see him, you be like, damn. There's a one night stand that I want to get my panties back from because he just because I haven't had a drink in 14 years either. So when I was drinking and champagne was my thing, man. So I would be turned up and just doing whatever I wanted to do, and I just had to stop because it got to be too much. So
I imagine you're not going to stay celibate forever, right? Not to the very bitter end. So at some point you're going to break that streak. So
no,
so I mean, are you waiting to get married?
I don't know that I want to get married again. 3 times. No,
Then again, right?
that's not an end goal for me. Um,
so you feel
a
you
companion
pleasure
would be
yourself.
great.
What do you do now? Listen,
See, I'm not like a guy. I don't have to do anything. I will masturbate maybe like maybe once every 3 months. It's just not a
Right.
big. It's not a big deal.
Man, once every
The
3
more
months.
you do without it, the less you crave it.
I don't know about
Well,
that.
it's not the same. There's a lot of build up when it comes to men. And I mean, my story is kind of different though a little bit because I was addicted to porn, and addicted to, trying to put that with the relationship at one time, and that kind of threw my partner off. She always thought I wanted somebody else, and that's what I wanted, and it wasn't even that. It was just I was addicted. You know what I mean?
Porn is a rabbit hole for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, it kind of took my interest away sometimes when we have sex, and it was like, just taking my mind somewhere else, and even approaching ladies, that definitely affected it. Even prostitutes, you know what I mean? You had a time when I was tricking for a licking, you know what I mean? And that wasn't a good thing either.
What was that about? I gotta ask.
That fantasy girl, making that porn addiction come true. This is the scenario. This is what I want. I just want it quick and fast. I don't want nothing to do with you after.
Cruising, cruising.
Yeah.
Or getting it. That's like getting off.
Yeah, it was something. So it got bad. You know what I mean? It's 2 girls in one night. You know what I mean? One leaving, the other one coming. They crossing past each other. They like, you going? What? I was just leaving. Are you coming? So, I mean, that can take you to a whole different mind state too.
Oh yeah.
So be aware.
Question on that with boys, adolescent boys, and we know that everybody is accessible to free porn now. Do you have any advice for them? Because like I said, it's a rabbit hole, and if that is their teacher, porn is their teacher, then that's a little scary. Because from what I've seen when I'm tuned in, a blowjob isn't even a nice thing. Now you got people trying to just break your whole face and have you backwards on the bed with you can't holding your nose and stepping on your head. Wait, what the fuck?
That's the bad thing about it. It's gonna build new expectations to the young community that shouldn't be even in tune to that. You know what I mean? They need to, start off how we started off, regular style and hunching, whatever you want to call it. They don't need to know about the world of porn and what it can bring. And, some people want to try different things and role play and cosplay, whatever you want to call it. It's just something that technology is definitely going to throw in your face from now on. We can't avoid it. It's available everywhere, on your tablet, on your phone.
I would suggest that as parents, knowing how easy it is, because it happened to my kids as well. Just searching on the gateway computer back in the day, my young son found himself, and my daughter, they found a porno site and downloaded the picture, and then my daughter was trembling because she did something, wrong. And but one thing, it's not that it's not going to be out there. It's just like even before we had the computer, we had to have a sense about us. All right, so we need to make sure we have a lot of communication going on with our kids. I teach my kids Tantra. I anointed their bodies. I taught them about my son's seed and what it meant. I told my daughter the same thing about the power of her pussy and her body with her bleeding and everything. And I think we can get into a place where we're teaching our children about the higher mind of sex. I know it's hard for a lot of people to change programming, but we got to break the curse. Yeah. So people are susceptible to going into addiction. So like my son can let drugs pass by him in a community because of how he's raised and taught. And we have to do the same thing around sex, so where people are making a choice, not in the programming like they have these Christians out here that wear these bracelets or whatever, where they're saying they're staying virgins until they get married, something like that, but not like that.
Yeah.
So understanding the power of our sex and the choice of how we are going to share our bodies, because there's nothing wrong with sharing our bodies, but we don't have to get that experience.
Well, our truth in our times was AIDS, you know what I mean? HIV. Herpes, you know what I mean? Seeing people disappear from that, it was a real truth, an epidemic.
Yeah.
Right now they're just making it more easier I don't really see a lot of condom campaigns like I used to see, especially around Tinder, stuff like that. Swipe
I think
right.
it went soft. Like I remember when I was younger, it was everything was about a condom. You couldn't go nowhere without saying something about a condom.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying it like I'm like crazy old, but it's just so soft about it. Like
There's no
I graduated high
advocacy
school
about
and
it. You know, TLC used to wear it in their videos. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
like
You don't
and
see
then
none
out of
of that stuff.
nowhere, like all these moms, like I don't want you teaching my kids about sex. Well, then you teach them. Oh, I don't want to expose them to that. Well, then this is the result you have.
And now you're seeing
You,
Teen
you got
Mom and
people
stuff.
growing up not knowing what sex is or not knowing about their own body or not even experiencing anything until they get out of their parents' house.
I guess I was a different kind of mom because I kept in my candy dish in my living room. I kept a bowl of condoms. Well, condoms were in the candy dish.
I kept it in the bathroom. I had one.
Mhm.
And to the other question you had, Kente, was like, what have you more experienced than the other partner? I had that experience too. You know what I mean? And it kind of exhausted her. You know what I mean? I was like, she was exhausted, man. She couldn't keep up. So I didn't want to do that to her. Like I had to let her go. Like I know she's a sweet girl. I know she got a lot of things she want to learn in her own way. It's just like trying to satisfy me and keep up with me wasn't pleasing me. You know what I mean? It's like I don't want you to do it if you don't want to do it. But yeah, I want to make you happy. And
It was the other way.
If you just go, just.
I could be honest and say it was the other way for me. She was, I don't know what she was trying to do. She was trying to turn me out of something, and I just was like, oh, I don't know, like crushing my pearls. Like I ain't ready for all this.
Like, give me that D, boy. You ain't done yet.
Like it was. I can honestly say, like, because you know, like being young and you try to date an older woman and they try to teach you something, they try to turn you out, and she lived up to everything I heard about it, and I'm just like, look, we gotta slow down. Let's just be friends. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for all this.
I thought I was the young one, gosh. I had all the energy.
Like, all the stories you heard about me is true.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, like we're cool, and I got real love and respect for her because she actually meant something to me. But on that level, I could never take it there again. Where because it was honestly, I can't believe I'm about to say it was honestly kind of like frightening the what she tried to expose me to, and I was just like, yo, I got back up. I'm not ready for that. Like not at all.
Like how harder can I go?
Tapping out like uncles. Like you made me say uncle.
Oh man. Yeah. But sometimes it's an understanding. This is just an understanding. Like the more honest you are of what you want, like even how many times a week do you need it? Is come on. We got to build a schedule around this. Can we put a little quickie in here and there?
You schedule it?
I'm just saying, you gotta have an understanding. It's like I like at least 3 times a week. You know what I mean? I feel like out of my element. I mean, on the weekends at least, it's, one little quick Sunday morning. I don't know.
Mira, you started to say something, Mira?
Oh no.
No.
No, I mean, I was just thinking back to, I as a parent, I was kind of, my children are all grown now, but we had the sexual conversation. My daughter and my 2 sons, we all had that conversation, and I think my sons probably definitely felt comfortable in coming and talking to me after it happened, because I could tell when my youngest son, when he lost his, I could tell he was acting weird. I could tell when my daughter lost hers, and I could tell when, well, we're not going to have that conversation about my other son. I'm not going to embarrass him because this is on YouTube. But I'm just going to say that one of my sons, well, I don't even know. To this day, I don't even know, because that boy is he an Aries, so he's so sneaky. So ain't no telling with him and what he's doing, But what I will say, it was open, but I don't think I was, I would give a condom and that kind of thing. But I did have a husband in the home, so I thank God I did, because even on the level where my daughter felt more comfortable in talking to him on those terms of when she was ready and that kind of thing. But I would say I was open, but I wasn't so open where I would have condoms like laying around. I would just kind of, here, take it, do what you need to do with them. You better not get, don't bring nobody home and that kind of thing. And we talked about it. I think I had pretty much, my parents had already prepared because what I went through with them. So my daughter had avenues of people to talk to. She could either talk to, my ex-husband. She could talk to my mother, my parents, because my mother certainly, was very open in that regard by the time she went and dealt with me, because I was a handful. In general, not because of sexual preferences or anything like that, but just in general, I was a handful. So my mother was able to be prepared by the time my daughter hit those tweens of smelling herself, as the elders say, when they start to smell themselves,
Right.
And so that's kind of where that began off. But I just listened, after listening to you sisters, I'm like, well, dang, I wasn't even nearly that open where I would just have it laying around and that kind of thing. It was just a discussion. And for the most part, my sons would come to me, or my daughter, or whomever, they come to me when they needed to, and that we just kept it moving.
Now, I want to say something. There's a method to my madness about the ladies that I asked on this show. And the reason why, let's see, Imani, you're here?
Yes.
All right, there's a method to my madness about the ladies I asked to be on the show. And I purposely wanted you three ladies because you guys kind of represent that earthy, spiritual, incense burning, probably listen to Erykah Badu, type sister, you know what I'm saying? That there's a lot that's, probably use shea butter, type thing going on.
So,
you
into the
definitely
spiritual
stereotyping all three of these women just now.
No, but I say that as a positive thing. I say that as a positive thing.
There's no lie.
The spirituality, and probably you guys are probably into your signs and all of that stuff. And there is a certain stereotype that comes with an earthy sister, the shea butter, whatever you want to call it. And there is like kind of a stereotype when it comes to them sexually as well.
Strange sexual energy.
Right. Break down sexual energy on that, Kente.
Yeah,
Brother Kente, break that down.
That's what was my next question too. But
is okay. So because people are going to want to know anyway when they see you fine young ladies. So is there truth to that in the shea butter, spirituality, Queen Mother Earth, Goddess?
Queen Sheba.
Is there something to that? Is there some kind of energy? Is there some ways that you access the galaxy's sexual powers that people who may not know, is there something you guys access that maybe just a regular, sister might not know, or it's just woman, period?
Well, I believe that sex is a spiritual path. Well, I believe that all sexual experiences take you to a higher realm. I don't believe in profane sex, meaning my sexual experience is just for me to come bust a nut or whatever, even though that is wonderful. But I also believe that my sexual experiences take me to a higher consciousness, into an altered state where I can make miracles happen in my life. And I am very erotic. It is against my religion to ever say no to sex to my husband. I kiss his dick every morning 3 times when he wakes up, not even just about having sex, but to honor him. And I've always had a hungry beast in my pussy. He just knows it. And he did not know what he was getting himself into when he was telling me when we met and was dating about his first marriage or dating women or whatever he was doing with these ladies. He was like, he always wanted sex more than his partner. Well, he got himself double handful with this one right here because I always want more sex than him. So what I've had to do is kind of balance out, how he never says no, but I have to I learned to kind of balance and let him come after me, let him come and get me, because guys like coming after you, like chasing after your ass and going to get you. So I had to learn to balance that out and not just be a hungry beast. But sometimes so what is it? I believe that it's part of nature. So I let myself have those feelings. I let myself be aroused. A lot of times, even with my food, I'm not rubbing my food over my tits. I'm saying I feel aroused with my food. I eat and I drink and it tastes good to me. I think that is about my body and that's about my mind connected to my body. And then in sex, where we have the most power, the most energy moving through our bodies, that's why you can express it more. And then you have a healthy womb, and your healthy womb, even in menopause, will still respond. And so and I've always felt that way even as a young person. I didn't feel anything bad with sex. I had to deal with more of the control of society and programming from religion to help me. But I didn't lose the power in the pussy, and especially with my heart. So that's how I talk. And that kind of gets me off too. I like that, talking like that. And so I've always felt myself excited in my own body. And I've always had a good sex life. And then when it's not going, we have cycles, and you're married, you have your cycles of when you have, often you have sex, and when sometimes you go in the low. And then I learned to work with that balance too. So we have some self-love time, and I have sexual time with my husband, but I never say no to sex. And I think that's a really healthy way in relationship to always have the juices flowing in your body. And shea butter helps. Walking barefoot on the earth helps. And all my prayers and rituals have always helped me healing my body.
And before we let the other lady speak, can we get a round of applause for her kissing her husband's dick every morning? That's wonderful.
Thank you.
So we're gonna go to Imani. Have you accessed some power of the galaxy that informs you better than the average woman, being that you're in the you're that
I was just a freak. No, I was just a freak. Sorry to disappoint. I liked what I liked, and I liked it a lot. I liked it too much, so I had to back the fuck up. Yes.
Like, I'm reformed.
Yeah, we can try this again maybe in a couple years. See if it's
right. You know, people behavior change once you threw it on them like that. Like, start making breakfast.
I mean, they would have to come so correct, boy, and then they might not leave, and I don't know if I want all of that. I'm a different person now, so I don't know that part.
How dare you put it on the shelf? All right, so
no comment on that. I can't. That's hilarious.
So Amir, you're very in tune with the universe, and you're in tune with the stars and the trees and all of that good stuff.
Oh Lord.
Does that help you in your sexual walk?
Well, for me, I'm a Reiki grandmaster, so so the thing about the Reiki is energy. So every part of my body is energy, right? So like my hand, you can walk past me and feel my energy, right? You can walk past me. I could raise my hand up and roll it around your arm, and you could be like, "Whoa, I feel you." You know what I mean? So I'm gonna say that. So y'all could kind of estimate where that's going, right? Without me getting all graphic and all that. I ain't ready to get all graphic because my man will kill me. But yes, I do believe in. And anytime my king asks me, I'm submissive though. I express how I'm expressive submissive. Okay. So if he's on his way home now, dinner's getting ready to be cooked. Y'all understand what I mean? So what he needs and what I require is definitely expected. You know what I mean? So I don't have a problem if he asks me to take care of him in any kind of form. I have no problem with that because we already have a contract, not just a paper contract, but we have a spiritual contract. And so with that spiritual contract, I definitely do respect him as a king, and he respects me as a queen. So when I ask him for things that I need, I'm on the receiving end, even if he has to say, "Hey babe, I'm a little tired, but hey, still, it ain't gonna be it ain't gonna be forever. So let's do what we gotta do," and you know what I mean, and get it over with and go to sleep. And then I'm a little bit older than my king is, so I'm like probably about 8 years older than he is. So my experience is a little bit differently because my whole entire life I didn't really get orgasms until probably about in my 30s. And so for that, I also learned I also teach people how to do sexual magic. So yes, I don't just have sex to just have sex to go, oh, we're gonna go, but it's actually a connection because I'm giving myself to this beautiful king and letting him know, hey, everything that I do around here, not only wash your drawers, clean the house, but it ain't clean right now today, but it will be later. But you understand what I'm saying. But anything that, he pretty much needs because of the contract that we have and the agreement that we agreed upon. I do believe in sexual magic. I do believe in having sex to appease that person, to appease myself too, in a spiritual sense of maybe wanting to connect. Because I'm a Taurus, he's a Leo. So we definitely have a lot of the same pleasures in life in general. And so when you make a human connection with somebody, and you all can take it to a sexual level, it's spiritual, sexual, and all those different things, and y'all can agree upon that, then the sex is beautiful because it's not always about, the pleasure of it, but it's the fact of uniting with that person and feeling connected spiritually. And then you can make it good because sometimes you can have bad sex with somebody. Y'all might not be in y'all right mode, but because y'all love each other and y'all care about each other and y'all sharing something and y'all trying to build on something, then it's still not a bad sexual, experience. But just imagine if you take your same yomi, your aka vagina, and you go and do it with someone else, it's like, your shit's dry. He was horrible in bed, so you're not gonna give him a second chance because again, y'all don't have that spiritual connection, and it's just a wham bam, thank you, get the fuck out of my bed.
That's how I feel with my lady right now, Mira. You know what I mean? We have good sex, and I like her. You know what I
mean? You crazy? Yeah, I feel you though. That's true. I feel
like
you.
Her. I can go out to the movies with her. You know what I mean? We can, all that good stuff.
When y'all can connect and just chill, like it could be a day where my king be like, I don't feel like going nowhere, and I could just, we could both be on YouTube watching a video. He's like, oh, look at this. I actually like dude. He's pretty cool, for a Leo. Leos get on my nerves, but he's really cool for a Leo. He's like an asshole, but yeah, good person. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we really connect on that level, and I'm very excited. Like each time we go somewhere, we go through a new phase, I get excited. When he does something, I'm like his biggest fan. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna step and go, yay! He be looking at me like, okay. Like he got certified in like a floor tech. He's already doing it as a business. And he's always doing it as a job. And so I'm like, yay, I'm going to go get that printed out for you. And he's just looking at me like, okay, well, and so it's just certain things. And he cheers me on when I get my degrees, when I get my certifications, and all that comes into play. So that's very sexually arousing that you can have somebody to cheer you on and just be there for you. Or if he come home with that check,
it feel like a celebration now. It's not just like it don't feel like a chore. It don't feel like a chore.
I was like,
bring that bag home.
Yes, baby. You brought that bag home. Mama loves you. Mama loves you.
Me tonight, nigga.
What you need?
Well, I want to thank this panel. You guys were amazing. Thanks for helping me get this first episode of the season kicked off. And I want to start off.
Can I say one thing? Can I say one thing real quick about that sexual energy? It can be a good thing, but it can be a bad thing. You better watch who you giving that thing to. Because I had them stalkers, man. They
don't want to leave.
They don't want to leave. They try to throw voodoo on me. They throw spaghetti at my house. I don't know what's going on here, y'all.
I told Kente. Matter of fact, I think I told a few people on here. Waking up one day and everything broke, your car windows, the house windows, the tires is slashed, and you like, what I do? I thought I let it down nice, and you like, that sexual energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that ain't no joke. We had that conversation before, brother. I remember.
Yeah. That's funny. But I love y'all. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Kente, do the outro.
All right. So we're gonna start off with the ladies first, of course. We're gonna start off with Imani. Once again, tell us how we can get you in social media and tell us what we should be on the lookout for as far as any projects or anything.
Let's see. On Instagram, I am Imani is Love. That's IMANIIZLOVE. Check out my Facebook pages, Sex on the Table, Decoding Black Sexual Politics. We get it in. Would love to have more people. The Soul Project, Standing on United Love, also on Facebook. And then for my jewelry, now I'm inside, it's all dark. African American Art and Jewelry, Imani's Treasures on Facebook. And I have a poetry book coming out this year, Root Work,
And
because I'm doing root work.
and when it's called sex on the table, not that they're having sex on the table, they're just talking about it. It's on the table, figuratively. So.
That is correct. It is a co-gendered conversation. You might have some straight brothers in the middle, some hotep brothers in the back, some queer brothers in the front, and we have a co-ed gender conversation complete with communication games. We break bread. And I know because I've done this before twice in Detroit so far, I'm looking to branch it out here in Las Vegas and probably back in LA and Long Beach. It's necessary. We have not had a conversation since slavery ended around Black sexual politics, and they seem to run a lot of our business, and so these are things that we have to talk about.
That's
so
right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And remember, this Friday, we're going to have another episode, right, of Black Artists Writers. So definitely check that out right here on indieradio.org. And next, the Goddess Charmaine, tell us how we can get you in social media and what should we be on the lookout as far as any projects you have.
Okay, I'm all over social media, so you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube, and I'm thesensuousmystic.com. There's where all my clothing optional workshops and straight workshops are going on. I unite sex and spirit in the holy body. And I also have my nude platform that's coming out on Wednesday, the new moon, the pussyandtheskygoddess.com. And that's where I'm going to be teaching Tantra and my naked holy body flesh all over the world. And people have been following me on Vimeo, and I've had an amazing experience there. But I've had to build my own platform, so then I'm not going to be censored anymore. And that's coming on Wednesday, the pussyandtheskygoddess.com. And I'm about uniting sex and spirit. I have 2 books. They're both on Amazon. Uniting Sex and Spirit, The Sensuous Mystic, and The Goddess Scrolls, Sacred Erotic Tales. They're all erotic rituals I've done throughout the full moon. And there's 7 years of rituals and manifestation in that book. And that's what I'm about.
And Naked Church, right? As well, right?
Church, Holy Body Puja. That's all happening up here at my house here. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 10 years now we've been doing Naked Church.
Wow.
Awesome.
Making miracles.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Definitely want to check you out.
Thank you.
And, Amira, how can people get you in social? Dr. Amira, I'm sorry. How can people get you in social media, and what should we be on the lookout for? I know you do programs as well.
You can reach me on Instagram at Ask Life Coach. I know I had to pull it up on the other phone just to see it, right? And you can reach me on Facebook, Dr. Amira Sankofa Kwali or Dr. Amira Kwali. Okay. And also my website is www.ask314life.com, or they can reach me at 502-208-9142. I have a session coming up where I will be training people how to tap into their psychic abilities, into their third eye. So I have that coming up. And then I also have a training where I will be teaching people how to connect with their mates. Spiritually, physically, metaphysically, and all those different things, because we don't have enough of that in our community. What the hell else am I working on? Oh yeah, I have a couple of books that will be coming out. They're done, but I just I had to revise some because my situation has changed. So I kind of wanted to revise it. So that will be coming off if I don't talk to you all by then. So off in August, it will be on Amazon. And let's see what else. Also, what I forgot to mention is that I do have a physical healing center here in Louisville, Kentucky, 1921 West Broadway, Louisville, Kentucky, 40203. Make an appointment, only. So definitely hit me up. If you're not here in the local area, you can still reach me by video, phone, or telephone, etc. And I'll be happy to work with you. And so, yeah, just go to my website.
I'll hook you up. Thank you so much, Brother Kente, and everybody. Y'all were beautiful. Y'all made me laugh today. I smiled, and I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Amira, and thank you, you wonderful ladies, for coming on. And now let's go to the fellas. I'm gonna start off with Aaron. Aaron, how can people get you? Or are you on social media for the public? And do you have?
Oh yeah. I'm on social media.
So how can we get you in social media? And you have a book, right?
Yes, I do have a book coming out. You can reach me at Mr. Wake Up Better on all social media, except what is it called with the P? I can't remember. I'm not on that one.
Pinterest.
Yeah, Pinterest. Yes, I'm not on Pinterest, but Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can just search Aaron Goins, my real name. I always respond. I do have a book called coming out, Cats and Elevators. That will be out hopefully August. I know I keep pushing it back, but hopefully it's gonna be August. And next, you could definitely expect Champion Realty and Champion Media. So Kente, I'm being a media game with you.
All right, that's what's up. I love it, man. And last but definitely not least, the one and only Keenan. Tell us how we can get you on social media, when we can check out your programs. And I know me and you were gonna do a Marvel wrap up or something like that.
Yeah, we gotta call an audible on that one. You know what I mean? We're gonna do something new.
All right.
It's probably like a summer review or something like that. But I want everybody to check out my 24-hour app. My radio station is called Live 365. It's on the Live 365 app. I need y'all to search Team Tick Radio. I'm gonna put that in the chat room. It's Team.
Yeah, put a link up. You know I'm gonna hop on.
Yeah, Team Tick Radio. And if y'all want to get y'all music heard, y'all need advertisements or anything like that, y'all can email us at theindependentconnect@gmail.com or check us out at the website teamtick.net. We have we signing up artists through BMI. We have a contest coming up for the summer, the Hot 16 Radio Challenge. So we're going to be doing a lot of giveaways from that and just networking with a lot of people. From advertisements to artists, show booking, everything like that. We based out of Las Vegas, from Jacksonville, Atlanta, Phoenix, and Seattle. We all hooked up together to bring this experience to y'all. So I hope you check me out. See me on social media at Kano the Pyro. That's KANOTHAPYRO, and that's on Instagram and Twitter.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Y'all beautiful black folks right here. You know, this is America, so let's stick together. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, real quick, who won, Pusha or Drake in the battle?
Pusha, hands down.
Pusha. They won't let Drake respond because Jay
Pusha.
Prince, but
So far.
Oh yeah, definitely Pusha.
Yeah.
Wait,
So,
before I go, Amira, congratulations. You're a doc. That's big. That's huge.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, that's huge.
Thank
yeah,
you.
congratulations.
Doctor. Yes.
I'm working on my second one, so I should have that second one in probably like 4 months. So
Let's get it.
Wow.
I
No,
know.
I'll celebrate with you.
And you can get me at KenteF on Twitter. We'll be back Friday on indyradio.org. That's INDY radio.org. We won't be on next week, but the following week, our next program is a sequel to our Black and Nerdy show. So that should be very interesting. So you guys have a great rest of your week. God bless, and we'll catch you next time right here